Now, each district has an availability of 2 seats. Two seats. So if 2 people come into the seats, then that would be broken. If it's 300 people, it would be 150 people apiece that they'd be representing, and their vote would count as 150 apiece. We do want to try to run 2 if we can, but right now the big thing is getting at least 1 per election district. If we can do it in both parties, then that's what we'll do. We should work together and walk together the district, Democrat and Republican together. And remember, a Republican can only verify their own Republican paperwork, and a Democrat can only verify a Democrat's paperwork. If a Democrat was to resign the Republican paperwork on the petitions, swearing that these are true signatures, it would be thrown out. Same is true with the opposite. So we've got to be careful of that, working in partnership with the other party. My hope is eventually the people will realize that the parties is a creation of the elite, and that it was created for the purpose of pitting us up against each other, dividing us so that we could be conquered. And you cannot be a party person, a partisan, and a statesman at the same time. It's an impossibility. When these people go to Washington or even to Albany, and then they get together with the party games and they start to, well, I'll vote for this and you vote for this, and they start to negotiate, that's not what we send them there for. We send them there to do the will of the people. When we vetted some of the candidates out where we're at, up in Columbia and Dutchess County, some of the questions I would ask these people is basically, when you go up there, do you have the ability to do my will and not your will? Because that's what I'm sending you up there for. I don't want your will over my will. And it's surprising the way some of these people respond, and they almost put an argument as if they know better. We don't care about that. When Jefferson was getting the people together and trying to sort of convince everyone to sign the Declaration of Independence, there were 2 individuals left out. That was the question. One of them was a delegate from Pennsylvania. I don't remember where the other delegate was from. But when Jefferson, there was the last 2 to sign the Declaration of Independence. And when Jefferson asked them to sign the Declaration of Independence, they said, we can't. He said, our hearts are for it, but we don't know where the will of the people are yet. We have to go back and see what our constituents think. And they went back, and then they came back, and they signed the Declaration of Independence. They said, our people are for it. You see, that's what a statesman does. He doesn't do his will or her will, he does the people's will. They don't gamble it away in deals with parties and dirty business and just plans and 3 men in a room. They vote the will of the people, and that's what we want. And those are the kind of questions we need to ask these people. But anyway, here in Rockland County, you need 200 and, what did I say?
71.
74?
71.
71. 271.
Now that's the number of districts?
That's the number of districts.
2 people per.
2 people, right.
So 542.
Right.
Correct. If you want to fill every seat. I mean, that's really ambitious, and I'd love to do that. But I will guarantee you, if you were to fill 271, they're operating on a skeleton crew. We would just wipe them right out. Westchester, they say that there's about 25% to 30% of the seats taken. Well, that's the facade you're looking at. It's probably more like 5% or 10%. A handful of individuals control everything, everywhere. And that's been consistent. We've been finding that everywhere. No reason it wouldn't be different here. They can't give this power out to too many people because they can't control that many people. They can only corrupt so many people at a time. They do get them thoroughly corrupted. They get political deals, political favors and all this stuff, business and all kinds of deals are going on in the back rooms. And in return, well, you do the will of what we tell you as it comes down from the top. And it's exactly what it is. It's a dictatorship. You can run in any election district within your assembly district, and there are 150 assembly districts. In my county, there are 2 assembly districts. I can run in half of my county, just about any town. I can run in, I live up in Hyde Park. I can run in Clinton. I can run in Poughkeepsie. I can run in Fishkill, Wappingers, Beacon. I can run in any of those towns in any district. And that's great, because now, if a lot of our numbers are sort of consolidated, we don't have a person in this town or that town, we can work that out and fill all these positions in through the Liberty group that you have and other Liberty groups that we want to pull into this process. Now, this is critical. This is what I'm going to talk about right now, in my opinion. It's absolutely critical. People need to think about this. There is what's called the state committeeman. The state committeeman is the most powerful of the committeemen. You know Cox, who is the head of the Republican Party. Well, how he became the head of the Republican Party is he ran for a state committeeman. What we're teaching people to do is to run for the county committeeman. And there's minimum amount of work involved with it, and anyone can do this and give a little bit of time out of their life in order to bring freedom back into our country. But the state committeeman is going to be a little more involved. First of all, we'll probably all would have to travel up to Albany to meet. I'm presuming that, because I don't know. But there's a lot more involved in that. Like I said, this guy Cox, who is the head of the party, has got tremendous amounts of power, tremendous. And he is the epitome of evil of this whole thing. Because it's from him that comes down from Cox right down into the county committees. They're told exactly what they're going to do, who the guys they're going to pick, who the judges are, who the candidates are. They tell them everything, and it goes right down into the town. And their will is done every year, year in and year out. That's why we have all these clowns that we vote for. It's the same old story. It doesn't matter whether you voted the right or the left, you're still going to get the same thing: progressivism, destruction, and erosion of our Constitution. And so we need the involved people, anybody who is an organizer, and you don't have to be an organizer, just someone who's going to say, I'm going to be involved and I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to run to become a state committeeman. Well, then you have to get signatures throughout your entire assembly district, which is 5%. You have to get enough signatures equal to 5%. And so we have to figure that out. I think it's a maximum of 1,500 or maybe 1,000, maybe 750. I'm really not sure. I just found out about this state committeeman thing. I thought that we chose them when we become county committeemen and we choose the state committeeman, but that's not true. We have to actually get voted in for that position. And there are 150 positions times 2. There are 2 seats for each assembly district. And so we actually need 300, but we can live with 150. We'll blow them out of the water with 150. We'll probably blow them out of the water with 50, and I really mean that. Again, they have the same process up there. They're appointed. There's no way the elite is going to allow 300 people in each party to make decisions, and it's just too hard for them to control. They have enough problem controlling 450 seats in Congress. It took them almost 100 years to finally get at least 60 or 70% of that. Probably 70% of our elected officials are progressives and is working to destroy our country, to destroy the American way.